A few weeks ago, I asked you guys if you'd be interested in me doing a series where I cover the first volume of a manga and give my first impressions on it. The response overall was pretty positive, so I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on a manga and anime that is currently going on right now that is really popular. So I wanted to go with Oshi no Ko. It currently has an anime airing right now, and I think it's a rather popular one, so I think it would be good to give my first impressions on it. What stood out to me, especially in the first 50 pages, I don't want to spoil too much about it because I want you guys to see if you want to enjoy it for yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a little bit of the actual book itself. I do have the physical copy as I kind of shown before. And I want to show you guys some of my favorite scenes, give you a little bit of a rating on what I thought like the story and art were, and then I want to leave it at that because I don't want to give you guys too much. If you haven't read or watched this series yet, I want you to do it for yourself, and I want this to be a motivation for you and a little bit of my first impressions. So let's go ahead and dive into the first volume of the manga here. This is the cover. Kind of shows off Ai Hoshino, who is an idol. She has kind of a silly pose going on. I had some initial expectations that the eyes were going to play some kind of role into the manga, and I was right. I want to wait a little bit to get into that, but let's go ahead and show that off. So we kind of have the back here. It says, "In show business, lies are a weapon. Goro is an OBGYN with a life far removed from the glitz and glamour of the entertainment industry, the world of his favorite idol, rising star Ai Hoshino. But when the two are unexpectedly brought together, their fates become intertwined in ways that defy all reason. For the good doctor, it's time to stand and deliver." Starting from the very first line, the book did a really good job of showing the life of an idol and how Ai ends up lying quite a lot. Being an idol meant that there was a lot of pressure on Ai to act a certain way and to appeal to her fans. I particularly saw it in this page, where this guy's commenting about, "For better or for worse, Ai smiles like a pro. Somehow it's like there's no human feeling behind it. I can't quite stand her." It's followed by this page, which does a really good job of showing how she feels like she's just constantly lying. I'm made of lies anyways, right? And right above it is where she's smiling. She's putting on the smile that her fans want her to have. There's a lot of great introspectives of what it's like to be an idol, and especially an actress. As you can see right here, she's kind of doing an acting gig. On stage, she has to look cute for everyone. And you see a lot of this throughout the manga where she's having to appeal to people. She's having to put on an act even to some of the people closest to her. Coming back to the back of the book, one of the first things you read is about this guy named Goro, who's an OBGYN with a life far removed from the glitz and glamour of the entertainment industry. In other words, he has nothing to do with Ai, and somehow ends up being intertwined with her. So I had originally predicted that Goro was going to be some kind of weird stalker. Like, he pretty much stands Ai, and you can kind of find that out from the first so many pages that he's really in love with idols. Finding out that your favorite idol is not only in your hospital, but is asking you to help her deliver twins, of all things, I think was a pretty big shocker. I'm sure that absolutely nothing is going to go wrong. So anyways, everything ends up going wrong. After this, the story is told from a much different perspective. We now see the rest of the story through the eyes of her two twins. With Goro's passing, we find out one of the big reveals. He ends up being reincarnated as one of the kids. Now, I won't spoil who the other one is. I think that's important that you just find that out for yourself. It should be pretty apparent. Now, I had to take away some time from the idol industry in order to raise kids, but after they're a little bit more grown up, we do get to see some really wholesome moments of her being a parent as well as returning back to work. From here on out, we get to see the rest of Ai's rise to popularity. We also get to see this interesting dual perspective of the future where the kids are grown up, as well as the current time where they're still being raised by Ai. Now, while there's a lot of wholesome moments, as you can see here with her raising her son, I do want to stress that this is a little bit of a dark book, that there is dark moments, there is sad times, and it does have a mixture of emotions. So please go into it expecting that. Don't expect it to be all happy, but also don't expect it to be all sad either. Now, I really enjoyed the characters and getting a look into the industry of idols, seeing why Ai ends up lying so much, why she feels the need to put on this fake persona at times. I think as you guys get to know Ai, you'll end up enjoying her personality just as much as I did. I think she's really silly and quirky at times, while also having a deeper backstory. Goro, who ends up becoming one of the main characters, was really funny. I didn't expect him to end up being one of the twins that she has. I think that was quite the crazy twist, and it's nice because we get to see more of him, even though he technically dies. Now, without going too much more into the story, I do want to say that it was really well done. I do think that there is some slow parts to it, but I think overall it's not too bad. The manga ended up being 216 pages and took me about an hour and a half to read, which is similar to the amount of time that it'll take you to watch the first episode of the anime, which covers everything featured in Volume 1. Now, I ended up reading the whole thing in one sitting, which I think is a testament to how much I ended up enjoying it. My final verdict is that the story is interesting enough to captivate you at first and definitely draws you in by the end of the manga. I can't say whether I would end up recommending the manga or the anime more. I haven't seen the first episode of the anime yet, and I'll definitely be sure to compare them as I watch it. Though I think what's featured here in the manga is great, and I would definitely recommend it as well, regardless of whether you watch the anime too or not. All in all, I think there's a lot of hype for the Oshi no Ko series. I think it is justified, but I want you guys to temper your expectations that it's not the most mind-blowing, mind-bending experience you're going to get out there. It does have some unique twists, it does have an interesting story, but it is not out of this world by any means. With that being said, either read the manga for yourself or watch the anime. I'm some random weeb on the internet, who cares about my opinion? Volume 2 is going to be coming soon. I'm absolutely going to read it, and I recommend that you do as well if you've already finished the first volume or if you've already finished the first episode of the anime. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to go ahead and make a little bit of a video on that second volume, but otherwise, this was my first impressions of Oshi no Ko. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you with some more impressions later.